I'm so sorry I voted for Trump. I didn't know he was going to take away Social Security from 150-year-olds. That he was going to defund trans operas in Colombia. If I had known, I would not have voted for him.
Hello guys, welcome once again to the channel. I hope wherever you are having a great time. Now we saw American electoral system in the 2024 presidential elections, and it revealed a lot of things. We have not gone to an issue-based electoral process because still people voted based on their racial backgrounds. Black people, some of them voted for black president, that is Kamala Harris, because they believed they also need to belong in that space. But then whites had something to protect. They didn't want a black person rising to that office, and more so a woman. And this has come to haunt them because many of them right now are regretting. They're saying, why did we make this mistake? We knew all along that Trump was not the right person. He's right now becoming a dictator. He's not right now denying us social security pays that we should get. He's right now limiting our healthcare. But then, when the time for voting was there, everybody was saying a vote for Trump is necessary because it is a vote for America. What is happening currently is revealing that as electorates and as voters, we need to know that there are certain times when we must vote with our conscience right. It's not always about whether we can identify with the person who is in the top office, because sometimes these people implement policies that are cutting across. And that is why we've also seen white farmers crying and saying, we don't have immigrants who can come to work for us. How is Trump hitting us? Yet we are the people who voted for him. I want you to listen to some of the claims that white people are giving out here. White farmers have cried. Almost everyone in the American economy is crying and saying Trump's policies are injuring them in the worst way possible. Let's watch this, then come back and share our thoughts in the end.
It's about $250,000 to $300,000 worth of revenue.
Just left to rot.
Yeah, which is one thing, but it's also lost revenue for the workers that would have been able to pick them had they been here.
Oregon farmer Ian Chandler says about half his usual crew didn't show up this season, leaving him scrambling to backfill dozens of positions.
You're calling them, I assume, individually
Yes.
and saying,
Yes.
what's going on?
Yes. And so
what are they telling you?
Well, in the beginning of the season, it coincided, unfortunately, with a lot of really strong immigration enforcement down in Southern California, where our workforce comes from. And that kind of had a chilling effect on people wanting to move.
While Ian says his workers are hired with what seemed to be a valid ID and work papers, fear of ICE raids kept many of them from traveling north this year.
So we're shutting down our market farm. We've officially decided to close the doors to our farm store and market farm. We just notified all of our customers yesterday. That may come as a shock to you, and some of you may be like, well, why are you doing that? There's many reasons. Ultimately, it comes down to we don't feel like the time input for the return is worth it. There's only so much time in a day. I've got several other businesses that just demand my time. I'm a real estate agent, I'm a health insurance agent, and then obviously we run the Tanner Farmstead social media accounts, educating you on how to grow food, and I really want to scale that and scale these other businesses, and I really want to grow putting out more content. And to be honest, I've wrestled with this for the past couple of years. I want my content to be about homesteading and food preservation and all these other fun things that I want to do, but I haven't been able to do because I've got to put so much time into, the turn and churn market farming crops, like lettuce. And so it's just not been in line with my vision. If you got any questions or want to hear more about that decision, you can send me a direct message. I also have a YouTube video out that you can watch, me talking further about the profitability of small-scale farming.
Anytime a MAGA man or a man who voted for Trump starts a conversation with, well, on the podcast, I'm going to stop you right there. I know what podcast you're talking about. I don't care what that person has to say. You know why? Because they're all grifters. Anyone who gets their political opinions from Rogan, those Nelk boys or whatever they're called, Theo Vaughn or whatever his name is not worthy of listening to, honestly. Those podcasters' main goal is to make money. And how they make money is to spew random conspiracy theories based on nothing. So if you listened to them and then voted for Trump because of what they said, that's on you, boo-boo. Like, imagine getting all of your information from some random bros who probably peaked in high school and got lucky enough to fail up. Sad, dude. It's just sad.
So y'all voted red and now you're broke, mad, and confused. So let's talk about it. The young people who voted for Trump and the Republican movement, they are already regretting their vote. And I'm not even going to pretend to be surprised because I knew it would happen. And y'all got to understand it's because this is always the play. See, a lot of young people didn't have the tools to really critically think about the impacts of what Trump's policies would have on their lives. And you know why? Because the American education system was never built for you to think critically. It was built to keep you just smart enough to pass a test, but not smart enough to question power. So when the propaganda machine started pumping, most of y'all didn't even know how to check that stuff to know what was factual and what was a lie. You didn't even know how to look past the shiny slogans, the memes, the TikToks, and actually ask real questions like, how does this policy impact me? My rent, my student loan, my future. And now here you are, under this Trump-led regime, finding out the hard way that Republicans do not have your back. That same party that you thought was about freedom is deciding the books you can read now, what rights you have, and whether you can even afford to survive. And look, I get it. When you're young, it feels like political policies and government and all that stuff, it feels like it's just background noise. You think it's something for old people to just argue about, but you see, it is not just noise. It's your life, boo. And if you don't take this seriously, the folks who do take this seriously, you know that older generation that's been controlling everything forever, they gonna keep stacking the deck against you. So now my question is, now that you are living under the policies that you voted for, are you ready to wake up yet? Are you ready to stop treating government like a joke and start treating it like survival? Because until young people wake up, old people are gonna keep cashing checks on your future.
Well, I did it again, damn it. Went down that damn rabbit hole and it was fun. Because I strolled down this hole of farmers that are mad because they're about to lose their farm. Because that federal grant money hasn't shown up yet. And they don't know what to do. And all of them crying. But damn it, in every freaking video, all of them, and I mean all of them, except for maybe one or two, all of them voted for Trump. So why are you complaining is my question. You voted for this. You asked for this stupidity. You complaining that you're about to lose your farm because you voted for a man who told you what he was going to do. But that's your freaking fault. Because you voted for your whiteness instead of voting your heart, because you didn't want to see that black lady in office. So you voted for that white man, and you knew he was a crook. You knew he was a thief. You knew he was going to do all the dumb shit because you've seen it before. But you mad because you're about to lose your farm. Some of them crying. This land been in my family forever. Yeah, because it was given to you a long, long time ago. And I ain't crying, and I ain't mad. And I don't care. Because that's what you get for voting for your whiteness. You voted for your whiteness instead of voting for the proper person that you knew was good for that job. But you wanted that man in office that bad. You didn't want her in office. You can't say you voted for the lesser of two evils. You voted his color, not his character. And before we get off of this, y'all know what to do. Hit the heart, share the video, do what we do. This TikTok, damn it. You knew better, but you did it. See, this land that y'all got for free, that's been passed down through the generations, that we didn't get our 40 acres of the mule. So why are we gonna be mad because you about to lose yours? This is by design. All of those corporations are buying up farmland across the freaking country. This is on purpose. But you've yet to realize that. Kamala had you saved. The money was appropriated. It was there. But you had to vote for Trump. You knew what he was. You knew what kind of guy he is. But you voted your color. And you thought you was going to get that privilege. But now you understand. If you ain't worth 7, 8 figures, he don't give a shit about you. Or your cousin, or your sister, your auntie. Nobody. Now you look like me to him. Because you ain't got it like that. So, I'm sorry you about to lose your land. But I really don't give a damn. Because you knew better. All of you. But you wanted to vote for your privilege and your color instead of who was deserving and who was better. So blame yourself. Blame your neighbor. Blame the people down the street. It ain't our fault. It's on you.
So Nebraska, which is a red state, is still scheduled to go broke in 6 months, and the residents are very unhappy about it. And they had this to say.
So are we going to sit at home on the couch and let these billionaires control the country? Hell no. We are the poor people. We're a red state.
Now, that was a 5-minute video that I cut down to that about 10-second clip that I just showed you, because what that man said in that clip was so significant. It really, really stuck out to me. The part where he said, we're a red state, really, really stuck out to me, and further reinforces when we always say that many people who voted for this administration believed that the policies of this administration would not affect they asses. Y'all fucked around, and now it's time for y'all to find out. Y'all voted for hate, even with the possibility that you might go hungry, even with the possibility that it might affect your health. Y'all voted for hate. Congratulations on getting what you voted for.
Have y'all seen that lady from Nebraska? Don't worry, I'm going to put it down here. She was one of the ones who came out and said, we voted for this and we regret it. She's one of the ones that's actually remorseful, not one of the ones that's coming on here going, yes, I asked for this, but please don't tell me how it's my fault that my consequences are affecting me and not just the people I hate now. I don't want to hear it, okay? Not that we don't care about them. But this one, they're cattle farmers. And I guess Nebraska's on track to go bankrupt in like 2 quarters. Okay, and the most interesting part of the piece that she put up, and I'm not saying this to throw shade, I'm saying it to emphasize what's up, okay? She says, we knew that they were going to be coming for the undocumented, and here, almost everyone's a farmer of some kind, and 70% of our workforce is immigrant labor. And while we knew they were going to be coming for the undocumented, and we knew 70% of our workforce was going to fall into that category, we still supported this. And now thinking about it, I'm going to say it one more time, and now thinking about it, They realize it didn't make sense to support something that went against their own interests and to put their support in something that is now feeding their own demise. And I appreciate her for coming on here and giving these updates and just saying, you know, with each time, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Like, in retrospect, I can't believe I did that. In looking back, this made no sense. This made no sense. I did it anyway, knowing it didn't make sense. I appreciate her for that. I appreciate her for that, because we've got too many that are just incapable of doing that. Just incapable of saying, wow, yeah, I convinced myself to go against my own interests. Why did I do that? Like, that is work. That's self-work. Okay? And that's what we have room for. We have room for people that are like, wow, I now want to look into why I convinced myself to do something that was not going to help me. Why did I do that? We need more of that. We need more of that. And less people going, yeah, well, I'm just going to hold on to my hate and rage and anger, and I'm going to blame everyone else. And you know what? Yeah, I'm going to fight to keep my job. I'm getting a lawyer. Okay, I'm fighting this. I don't care if I asked for it. This isn't fair to me. It's not supposed to affect me. What about me and me and me? We don't care about them. Like I said, they can go fend for themselves. They can go fund themselves. But yeah, it's very interesting. So these states that are already on track to go bankrupt just with the policies themselves, okay? Because she's like, people aren't showing up to work. I mean, whole thing, okay? And then blue states, you know, these cesspool states that are providing all the federal taxes, you know, people who live in states like Oklahoma who can't afford a plane ticket out here for the weekend love to talk about how this place is a cesspool, but they need our money to survive and to support themselves. Yeah, I am all for all of these blue states holding on to their money. I'm not interested in paying this regime. I'm interested in California independence or joining Canada or almost any other country but this one. And I would love to see how states like Nebraska plan on funding themselves when we aren't the ones putting into the pot anymore. We're going to keep our dirty little blue cesspool dollars to ourselves. How about that? How about that? Like, go ahead. Give it a watch. Give it a watch. I give her props. And keep it rolling. Because that's an area, that's a state where the administration is trying to tell you that we're traveling out there to their town halls. Okay? She's in one of the states where they're trying to tell you that it's us that are upset at the town halls. We're traveling out to cow country and removing our dreads and our blue hair to go make red legislators look bad. That's what we're doing. They wish they lived in our heads that much. They wish they lived in our heads that much.
So, y'all be seeing the people on TikTok recently. It's like, what about the people in Nebraska? Where are y'all? Like, do y'all not care about what's happening to us and our families and our 300-year-old farms? I mean, we see it or whatever, you know, but we seeing this too. We seeing this too. We seeing this too. Y'all remember when that white dude was getting arrested in, I think it was Atlanta airport, and he was like, "You're treating me like a black person." Y'all remember that? I think that is what is happening in these United States of America. I think that everybody is starting to find out that racism is expensive. You should vote your pay grade, and that everybody is niggas.
Dear God, if you've never listened before, Texas is reporting that numerous farms are shutting down. They have no workforce to bring in the harvest. So what does that mean? We're going to have less food available. What does less food mean? Higher prices for what is available. Even the cattle has been left unattended. Now they're gathering people up to make a workforce. Don't even doubt that for a second that that's what they're working on here. However, there's no people now. Now, as we come into fall and everything is ready to be picked and processed, we are in a massive FO moment for the nation. So if you have not stocked up on basic food items that will help you survive, God help you. Because you're gonna need it. I don't know what more to say.
A lot of people effed around and now they're finding out. And no group of people is going to find out more quickly than farmers because they're really going to get screwed. With the cutting of this USAID program, they're really going to get hit hard because what was that program or is that program that is not being operated as it's supposed to be because of Donald Trump giving complete control of the federal government to the billionaire who bought him, Elon Musk. Anyways, what was the purpose of that? The purpose was to provide humanitarian relief around the world. And a big part of that was providing food to desperate people around the world. And what we did through that program is purchase a lot of agricultural products produced by American farmers and then distribute those products.
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms. It's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share this with every Republican you know. And you don't even need to wait for their response. They just need to know what's happening. And this is part of my line of work. I deal with commercial farmers, including these small farmers, as clients. And I cannot tell you how this is the beginning of the complete collapse of our economy under this Project 2025 administration that doesn't know what they're doing. You talk about the immediate shuttering of farms, because this is actually what's happening. With the food, with the harvests that are lying there completely rotting. That is a loss of food to local food distributors, local grocery stores, local restaurants, hospitals. They sell their harvest, all sorts of vegetables, to businesses within the state of Texas. This is where you can go into your local grocery store and now you're going to see hardly any vegetables or fruit, depending on what they're growing, or a shortage of meat. This is what's going to happen. Now, all of the other industries that support farming, you've got local pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer suppliers that are just, their sales are going to plummet. These farmers aren't going to be purchasing that. You've got H-2A workers who are now gone, migrant workers who are now gone. They were paying taxes. Even if they didn't have social security numbers, they were given tax numbers, tax ID numbers. So now you got millions of dollars just poof, gone overnight from these Texas communities. You've got trucking companies that are hired to haul the...
So I found this, and it says more U.S. farmers filed for bankruptcy in the first 3 months of 2025 than in all of 2024. The 259 filings marked the highest yearly total since 2021. This can't be true, is it? Unfortunately, it is, because this comes from a farming website where it says farm bankruptcies this year already exceed 2024 levels. More farms nationwide filed for bankruptcy in the first 3 months of the year this year than across the entirety of 2024. 259 filings in the first 3 months. And the article cites the person who is talking and a research study from Arkansas, and it is devastating. But I think there was somewhere, did I hear about this, that was going to possibly happen with Donald Trump back in office? Maybe that was us who were talking about it, because there was warnings of this, that bankruptcies for farmers and farms going out of business would hit an all-time high because of Donald Trump, his tariffs, and the way he does things. At what point are the MAGAs going to admit Donald Trump is doing more harm than good? You couple this with just destroying food from the USAID for people who need it instead of giving it out. He's not on a very good roll right now. Well, I would say he's not on a good roll ever, but that's me. What do you guys think? Do you think that this is good? What do you think the MAGAs are going to say about this? Are they going to say anything about this? Comment, like, share, tell everybody. Spread this word. What we need is to talk about these things that are happening and how they are hurting U.S.-born citizens, and continue to put this shine, that light, right on Donald Trump.
I think, as they say, it's a powerful moment for them. And since they voted believing that they're going to hurt blacks, let them enjoy their bed, which they made. I think it behooves every voter to always go beyond abstract things when they're making decisions of whom they're going to elect. I'm looking at America right now and I'm wondering, is this the country where people said it's the greatest country in the world? It has greatest credentials when it comes to issues of economy and democracy, because Americans are not happy with who they have as their leader. They're crying all over. Black people are used to this kind of sufferings, and therefore they can be able to really sustain it until another election. In as much as they're also being targeted and they're also suffering, they have always suffered. But still, because of our resilience, they will withstand this and live to reach another election where they will make serious decisions. So, do skin color matter when you're electing a president? Because you might be electing a mad person to be your president just because he's a white person. Remember every charge that Trump got. Remember the explicit words and behaviors that Trump has had. But within all this, he's still being considered someone worth respecting and talking about. So, what really is necessary when people are voting? This is a question that we need to ask ourselves, especially Americans and those who are crying right now. Next time, if a black person who is better in terms of handling economy and foreign policy comes to be voted for, will they still go back to the mad white person they have? That's a question they need to answer. These white supremacists who supported Donald Trump in his second term are increasingly expressing regrets as economic conditions worsen, undermining the expectations of prosperity. Many backed Trump for his economic promises, such as tariffs to boost American jobs, but his policies have led to market volatility and rising prices, hitting their communities hard. Polls show that economic dissatisfaction is growing, with only 37% of voters approving of Trump's economic handling by April 2025 as inflation and layoffs persisted. This regret is evident among some white working class voters, a key segment of Trump's base who feel betrayed by unfulfilled economic promises. Navigator research found that 27% of Trump's voters, including moderates and non-MAGA supporters, regret their vote or are disappointed, citing economic struggles like job cuts from Trump's DOGE initiative, which laid off over 280 federal workers. These voters, including those with supremacist leaning, expected economic stability but face declining prospects instead. Highlighting this disillusionment among white supremacist leaning voters, a Reddit user identifying as a young white male drawn to Trump's rhetoric expressed regret over economic instability and fears of authoritarianism, reflecting broader concerns among similar voters. Another focus group, participants from Michigan, initially swayed by Trump's anti-immigrant stance, now fears economic collapse due to tariff-driven price hikes, showing how economic realities are overshadowing ideological alignment. Despite the initial support for Trump, racially charged rhetoric, these voters are finding economic pain outweighs ideological gains. Polls indicate that 14% of Trump's voters would switch their vote or not vote at all, driven by economic woes like 0.3% GDP decline in early 2025. While Trump's core MAGA base remains loyal, the broader white supremacist-leaning electorate is fracturing as economic hardships challenges their earlier convictions. It is time you get to learn. When you make your bed, you lie on it. You voted for Trump thinking that he's going to give you the best. He's now giving you the worst, but you have to live with it. Let's see. Next time when people come and present themselves to be voted for, will you do a better analysis to know the reason behind their desire to run for elective seats? This should not just be targeting the president alone. It should also go in lower seats, where even governors are held to account because of what they have promised, not because of who they look like, but because of their ability to deliver on the promises they are giving. I think this will really help us achieve a lot, not just in America alone, but everywhere, even in Africa, almost everywhere in the world. Share your thoughts down in the comment section. And if you're watching us for the first time, please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share. Help us reach the 100,000 subscriber mark. We shall appreciate your contribution and appreciate your help to make us achieve this great dream. Thank you, and let's meet to the next one.